So actually, Bobrisky spends time in prison, and we are going to understand that, of course, here in this video. The legal team that is representing VeryDarkMan, Deji, comparing to these people here, the Falana, is not going to be something small, but this is something I'm looking at here. You see, the Falana family is known for their integrity, is known for very good, amazing contributions as well to legal situations happening in Nigeria, or what I say, their stance for activism. That family alone has a very goodwill in the mind of people. I wouldn't suggest that this whole dragging happening online is even necessary. Do you know why? Because if tomorrow, 10 years, 20 years from now, you see this particular conversation will still be lingering. And if anything happens to, let's say, VDM, contrary or maybe negatively, I don't know about you, but those who I see, most of them as well, standing against VDM are either pure fanatics of whoever they follow as their idols or celebrity, but majority of those I see who are actually with him are regular people who can share in the pains and what he actually does speak for, being a voice of many people that don't have that particular platform. But look at it this way. You are talking about someone that really has nothing to lose. If you look at his personality and how he actually came up on social media, like from him having no reputation at all that you could say is credible or something, and him also building that credit as well or goodwill in the mind of people when it comes to what he's doing for people, what he's using his influence to do as well. Even though he has his excesses here and there, he's just being very, very unapologetic and real with himself. Indeed, he's going to appeal to a lot of masses, and people would want to have this kind of people that have attention close to them. That's why when you look at him being friends with this popular person today and tomorrow that having that longer heads, it begins to make sense why he has to be the way he is as that antidote. Some way, somehow, to really be able to speak truth to power and just be unapologetic about his opinions. For me, you might think I am not pro VDM or pro whoever. Those who have known me here for long, is facts over sentiment. So like I always say, attention itself right here is currency. Now the attention is halved, like I always teach you all guys here, is making him so current that the House of Reps is talking about him. Nigeria as a whole is talking about him. Media, news media, TV stations are talking about him. And this is someone that just came from the trenches, and then he's been able to galvanize and then just God raising his horn somehow, and he's being there on social media for whatever reason as well, dealing with issues that, come on, just to digress a little bit, we have been talking about ills happening in the church for how long on this platform? But just for him to put mouth in the one of Jeremiah Omotofufuyin, look at how much attention it has brought on his person, that even Jeremiah Omotofufuyin is beginning to repent gradually and saying that, oh, I'm not selling anything, everything is for free, this and that. But this is something that has been going on for a long time. So why am I making this particular comment? If I look at the Falana family, whom I know that are trying to actually get to, defend their name, I understand where they are coming from. Falana himself came out and then said this.
Actually reached out to you. Did Bobrisky speak or directly or indirectly to you? If that is the case or not the case, what are you doing? You've written a letter seeking a retraction of it. But what are you doing to establish your innocence in what has been an allegation on this matter?
Sean. Bobrisky never spoke to me. I have never met him. I do not know him from Adam. It was alleged to have spoken to my son, Falana, Fars. Yes, my son said this guy was appealing to people for assistance and called my son, I think on May 4 thereabout this year, please, can you give me 3 million naira to be placed in a special part of the prison. We call it the VIP section. And my son asking, are you calling me under the authorization of the superintendent of prisons? He said, no, please, don't call me again. I'm unable to assist you to bribe the prison authorities. And be very careful, since you're already in jail for an offense. Please, if you are going to come in next time, you either do it through the superintendent or you write a letter endorsed by the prison authorities. And that was the last. Somebody now said he listened to a tape somewhere and went out to lampoon and rather defame me by saying the guy had spoken to me. Of course, we are going to examine the call-ups. And my son has also said, this was the guy who originated a call to me. My son has never negotiated fees on behalf of anybody. On the contrary, my 3 children normally refer people who need assistance to me, and not those. In fact, my wife was asking our kids recently, why are you always sending people who are not able to pay our fees? Next time we are going to be charging you. So this is the position. Now what I'm going to do, I have resisted the temptation shown to file a criminal complaint because I'm leading a team of lawyers in West Africa campaigning for decriminalization of freedom of expression. We have succeeded. This campaign is being coordinated by the Media Foundation for West Africa, of which I'm a member of the board. We have succeeded in getting Liberia, Ghana, and Sierra Leone to decriminalize freedom of expression. We are still appealing to other countries in the region to ensure that we respect freedom of expression. But that is not a license for defaming people, for blackmailing people. Once, and what we are saying, if you are defamed, in the words of the late Justice Olatawura, in the case of Otawankwa and the state, if you are defamed by anybody, please go out there and sue for libel, where you put your own character in issue. In this case, we are not going to file a criminal complaint. We will not be pushed to do that. I'm currently defending a couple of journalists who are standing trial either under the Cyber Crimes Act or under criminal libel. But what you are going to do is to embark on civil proceedings with a view to restoring our integrity, my own name and that of my son, so that nobody will simply rush to the social media to defend any Nigerian. We want to make an example. In this case, we have asked for a retraction and an apology rendered to us. And that is not too much. And if we don't have a retraction, an apology acceptable to us, accepted by us, we are certainly going to initiate civil proceedings in the High Court.
Yeah, Mr. Falana, because this is actually not, I mean, I'm saying for the sake of the public who have not seen or heard from you in this matter, who have the benefit of hearing your own side of the story. And that's why I brought it up. But I know how painful this could be, especially if you have built a reputation.
That was on Channels TV. And VeryDarkMan has also decided to respond to that particular occasion. And in summary of what he said, for those who follow him, I guess you have seen the video before now. He's trying not to indeed make it more like a Falana between... He's trying not to make it a Falana and a VDM conversation, which I think is actually very necessary for us to take note of. Before we watch the video, please remember that during that particular event where he was invited, he dressed up like a normal Edo man, and the whole drama that happened, he at a point actually apologized, if I'm to take it that way, about the situation of him involving the Falanas, even though it's already on record, you know, digital footprint, that there was once an issue between them. But can that be registered as him officially apologizing? Because probably I should be expecting him to apologize in this video again if that is not accepted. But let's listen to what he had to say here.
Because apparently right now some people are taking advantage of what is going on to target FEMI FALANA. And I would like to still say here now that I apologize to him for the dent on his name. However, it's so sad that his name was inside that audio. I could not believe it as well. That was why that was the part that even irritated me more, which I said I refuse to believe that you will be part and party to something like that that would make people take somebody out of prison and to get a pardon. So here I have the Recording, I have one part. I can't give you guys the whole part because I don't know if the Godfather is here. Alright, I've received a lot of calls this morning. VeryDarkMan, did you see what Uncle FEMI FALANA said on channels?
Okay, so I think he gave a reaction to that. Had never spoken to the person of Bobrisky like Bobrisky himself, kind of like alleged in the audio. So with what Bobrisky was saying in the audio, indeed, you could see that what I was saying before in my previous video, that Bobrisky may have been lying about a couple of things he was saying in that audio because he wants to get money. Just like you see sometimes people lie about issues as well. Like some of you maybe have lied to your parents. Oh, I'm supposed to pay this for school fees. This, give me money. You understand? But it's church or church that got us here. People's private bedroom conversation is what we are discussing as a national issue now. Ha! God. Let's listen to VeryDarkMan.
He's going to make an example, said a lot of things. To be honest, I refuse to make this about VeryDarkMan and the Falanas. You understand? It is about exposing corruption that has eaten the system so deep. First things first, somebody committed an offense. The person was taken to court. The court passed a judgment. One godfather called that the person should not go to where the court passed the judgment, that the person should go to a private lodge.
Let me react to that particular point. Now, according to the court, he was sentenced to the prison minimum. We have minimum correctional center and maximum. So where he was sentenced to was at the Ikoyi prison. Okay, but it happened to be that he was moved to Kirikiri prison. Do you understand? Now, as to what led to that movement, we talked about it. I don't know. I'm just discussing what I find from the conversation. So
now I exposed that they called us for an investigation. They called EFCC, prison, VeryDarkMan and Bobrisky. These three people came, one of them did not come, and it is not a problem. Meaning, if I say the Godfather, they very, very strong.
Yeah, there's a particular investigative report by Fisayo, a well-known investigative journalist in Nigeria, that he gave an accurate report according to his findings of what actually happened. I'll be discussing that as well today, just to give you an idea of what is going on in this video. So you might want to stay tuned.
Now, I expect a lot of you to be very disturbed. You people need to be disturbed, but you don't understand. It's not, leave Bobrisky. This is not Bobrisky. You should be bothered about a godfather that will be in Nigeria, that if somebody commit a crime, just imagine, say, person now buy your papa. Somebody come in the house, come rob. You can't buy people. Una come eventual police can't catch him. They can't hand over him to prison. One godfather can't call. They can't command the person. How does that help us as a country when the thieves that are committing crimes, there's no guarantee that they are being locked up? When the people committing crime, that there's no guarantee that they are locked up. They are kept away from the people that are living a very good life. You should be bothered. It's not about the Falanas and VeryDarkMan. It's about the crime. Now, after that thing was released, everybody was in doubt. Now, true or not lie. But when we can't reach House of Red, it can't they become truths. The truths can't they glaring for the eyes. When they put those prison people for inside that docket, I mean a dock. When they asked them, was Bobrisky in prison? From all their response, obviously the guy was not in prison. If you remember, these prison people talk, say they do test. I mean, they go carry Bobrisky, go do one test. They say Bobrisky na complete man. So Bobrisky, they serve in time for man prison. Now when the thing cast, they say Bobrisky, they no put him for man prison. Say because they fear, say men go do this, men go do that. Say they can't keep him for special place.
Meanwhile, the Bobrisky they talk saying they with men for men prison and he enjoyed it.
Just for you to get the context of what he's talking about, it was the interview that he had with Isbeyu where he talked about it. Okay, so does that make sense now? Cho. Now land us for here, but let's go on.
Now prison oga they tell us Bobrisky na tranny. Bobrisky na tranny.
But should we even be having this conversation about like gender conversations in Nigeria based on legality, not based on like, you know, the influx of social, or would I say Western ideas on what is happening now in the West? Based on Nigeria, you're either male or female. But for you to see that conversation happening on that scale, in such a podium where it's a conversation in Nigeria that even I might be mistaken by saying he, she, and why there's this confusion sometimes is that the image you have of someone in your mind defines how you address them at a particular point in time. So when you see someone say he and she at the same time addressing her, doesn't mean that it's actually intentional. We speak out of imagery. So if an image in your mind is formed of the Bobrisky person over time as a lady based on how she dressed and all that, you would naturally address him as she unknowingly. That's where that, so it's not as if people will just, and you that keep saying in the comment, why are you addressing him as she? It's not, anyone that does that does not do that intentionally. It's based on the imagery of conversations that you are having, that your mind paints for you as you are speaking. Before we speak, there's a particular process of speaking. So even when someone is lying, they imagine that lie and how it can be plausible before speaking. Do you understand? But let's go on.
Now why they no put and saying get women feature, in get Bobby and in get Tutu. So I sing get Bobby and Toto. Why you no put on with women where get Bobby and Toto? Say you go create special place for them. And we took him from minimum and maximum prison with their private car. Now they transform prisoner with private motor. And you people should be disturbed in Nigeria.
Now I'm talking about the minimum and maximum ideology like I talked about. The Ikoyi prison he was sentenced to is a minimum correctional center. The Kirikiri is more like maximum. But you know, people always say Kirikiri as if that is the worst place. But do you know that actually in Kirikiri as well, there are special places, of course, in that Kirikiri prison that has a form of special treatment, like apartments with air condition, with you know, good facilities, I would say, within the prison. That's what that other man was talking about, within the prison. But where this whole thing is actually becoming a situation is him being lodged or housed outside the prison. It's going to make sense when we look at the investigative journalist report on this particular issue. So you know that indeed those in the correctional center were correct for them to say that she was in the prison, or you see now, see me too, he was in the prison at the time, but he wasn't in the prison for the total serving time. But we will get onto that conversation as well. Let's finish with what VDM had to say.
Don't they be like truths? See that recording now, don't they obviously be like truths? It is not about Falanas and VeryDarkMan. EFCC on the other hand, just come there, come they blow English that day. I just they look them. They talk. I don't even bother myself. I just they look them. I say go and investigate the accounts. Bring the account details of that in brother. Let's see the whole accounts. Talk finish. Then no get talk again. Investigate that account. Let's know all the money that left the account and all the money that came into the account during the period when Bob was with you. So that
I see that's where Bob also shot himself in the foot, because in that particular audio, which he didn't know he was recorded, him mentioning the brother and money sent through the brother, if they have to investigate and it points out that the money entered and left to someone that is in the EFCC, then we have an issue right here. Do you understand? But Bob himself coming to say that that particular audio is not his, it is doctored, is not his AI. Why would he be inviting someone that said his voice is AI if it's not his voice? So people also know that probably just a legal jamboree as well to just, exempt himself from the case. But this whole conversation is happening because of Bobrisky. Just interesting. Let's go on.
Find the corruption that is inside the FCC. All the English other one they speak, finish on your mouth. My own be say, if they are serving me a letter, me wanna also serve Bobrisky this same letter. Because I am not the origin of the tape. But I know they serve me, Mona leave another person where originate am. Mona serve the two of us if na the verse. Do you understand? Uncle Femi is somebody that I respect, and I say if I see him today, say I go still lie down for ground. Even if eventually even still carry me go the court. Maybe more just say push come to shove. I can't go spend 2-3 months. I come back. Then just imagine, which is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like corruption I expose.
The way I get to look at this here, it becomes really an important conversation if you look at what the investigative journalist has said. So I'm going to read that as well to us, but before we get on to that, the person I'm talking about here is someone that has really been involved in active investigative journalism in Nigeria. Much respect as well to him. I've been following his work for over the years, and most time as well, people that do great work like that don't really get that much of media attention. Even now as well, there are rumors that he's going to be arrested. He may be arrested with respect to some of his revelations he has made about the government, especially with Tinubu's wife. At this particular point, looking at the whole, look at the post here on Twitter. I'm not just trying to make these things up, but last time he actually did an investigation into like the prisons and all of that. This was one thing he said in a particular gathering of investigative journalists, and he actually won some awards as well with respect to this. This is what he said about the force, the judiciary system, and also the police prisons that he actually went to. Listen.
I titled my pitch for that project "Reverse Prison Break." People in prison.
You're breaking in.
Yes.
Right.
Because people in prison want to break out. I wanted to break in. But the police was then the avenue. So pretend like an offense had been committed, get the police to pick me up, and then send me to jail. By Nigerian laws, in 24 hours, I had to be out of police custody. They kept me for 5 days. Every single morning, they woke me up to ask me if there was someone to pay bribes to get me out. So I found out a lot about Nigerian police, even though they were not the original target. Then from there, they took me to court. In court, people were coming to meet me. After the magistrate remanded me in prison, if you can pay, you will sleep in your house tonight, which means in the Nigerian justice system, once you have money, two things: if you have money and your case is not under media spotlight, you escape justice. So a court sits and they say, send him to jail. But he pays a bribe right in court and he sleeps in his house. And the media reports he's in jail and people celebrate. But you're never going to find that because you can't write to a court. You can't write to a Nigerian prison and say, give us a list of how many inmates you have. You're not going to get an answer. And then in prison, I then found out that you can go to prison in Nigeria and get your records erased. Just speak to the right people and pay them. You can drink, you can do drugs, you can have sex, you can sleep in air-conditioned rooms, you can live the big man life if you can pay and if you know the right people. And I thought it doesn't help with democracy if we allow a system to continue to let people get away with the law, do what they like and just get away with it.
So this is someone that had first-hand experience as well, having to appear like he has done something, being sent as well to being held in custody, and then from there as well being sent to prison. And he got to really understand a couple of things that happens over there. Do you understand? That's the person we are looking at. So in the report right here in All Africa, you can also search for this news yourself right here. If you search on allafrica.com, this is what he says as well with respect to his finding of the situation. So we get to really understand what happened. So it says here, Nigeria, Bobrisky spent only 3 weeks in prison. So actually, Bobrisky spends time in prison, and we are going to understand that, of course, here in this video. An investigative report by FIJ reveals, the FIJ means Foundation for Investigative Journalism, reveals that social media influencer and cross-dresser Bobrisky spent only 3 weeks of her or his sentence in prison, and the rest of it in a secret location. Does it make sense? So indeed as well here, when the officers were at that particular occasion for the investigation as well that was being held, that what they will be speaking to will be fact, because they were holding up records of when she was being, or when he was being, you see, me too, he, she, when he was being captured, and his data as well in the system. So there's actually record of that as well, and this is something that probably you can also get to backdate. So for there to be that official or current as well, it makes sense right here. Going on as well here, Okunyele Idris, his name, the Nigerian cross-dresser popularly known as Bobrisky, served only 3 weeks of her or his 6-month sentence in prison, a report by FIJ has revealed. The report follows the revelation on Tuesday by Martin Vincent, who said as VeryDarkMan, a social media activist popularly known as VeryDarkMan, of an audio which Bobrisky was alleged to have claimed that she or he spent his or her sentence mostly out of prison, and that she or he compromised operatives of the Economic Financial Crimes Commission with 15 million to drop the money laundering charge against him or her. So the reason why I'm discussing about this over here as well is so for you also see what does of course happens in government to a great extent. Moving on right here as well, according to FIJ report, while Bobrisky was indeed taken to Kirikiri prison in April after his or her sentence was pronounced, a news report disposes that he or she left after just 3 weeks. Okay, according to FIJ report, Bobrisky was guided like a president for 3 weeks. She or he spent, let me not even join the she or he. Bobrisky was guided like a president for 3 weeks he spent in prison before he was moved out. GWG.NG had also reported that Bobrisky looked very chubby after he came out of prison, spawning reports as to whether he became pregnant while in custody. Who are we talking about? Come on, he's a man. He cannot get pregnant. And by the way, just in case you don't know, his pendulum is still there. His pendulum is still there. It's not been taken away. Bob spent only 3 weeks here with us in Kirikiri before he was taken out to another place we don't know. A prison official told FIG. That was where she spent, okay, let me just use a sheet so I can quote them correctly. That was where she spent her time. It was an arranged thing and money was involved. So if you listen to that particular audio recording, they talked about money as well with respect to, you know, staying in a special place outside prison with respect to money being involved. But what was mentioned, if I heard correctly, was about 9 million or so. Not like 15 million, because I think there was also a mistake by those who were doing the investigation on BDM and EFCC and Bobrisky, where they mentioned that 15 million was also involved with respect to the correctional center. I think that was also a mistake over there. The source also told FIG how Bobrisky was guarded like a president until she was secretly taken away after 3 weeks. She received VIP treatment, although she received VIP treatment all through, said the source. She lived in a special cell. The money she said she paid is actually true. No lies. Yes, she paid the money. The revelations of a source are in consonance with 2019 undercover investigation by FIG founder Fisayo Soyumbo. Okay, he is a person that has been through that system before, for which he deliberately got himself detained for 5 days by the police and incarcerated for 8 days by the prison service, discovering that it was possible to pay money to live in a well-furnished apartment inside prisons. So now it makes sense as well, like we were discussing before. So even the prisons has partitions, so well-furnished apartments inside prisons, pay to bring in phones, drugs, and sundry outlawed items, strike one's name off prison records, and even live outside the prison while supposedly living outside the prison while supposedly serving out a jail term. So you see, this right here were discoveries that was made long before now, and it also becomes what has repeated itself at this time. So indeed as well right here, it makes sense that Bobrisky will spend some time outside his jail time, because when we look at the video as well that when we look at the video that he sent to Radio God and all that, you know, that video looked like an apartment or something. But of course, it was instructed that according to what he said in the audio with the person that he was talking to, that VDM released, that he was instructed not to come out and all that. But there's also some other revelations as well on this report. Video call camera on Bobrisky. So although the prison authorities did not allow Bobrisky to mingle freely with other inmates like he was guarded, consequently reducing the chances of her eventual disappearance being spotted, the prison official told FIG about one noteworthy incident. There was one day one guy was on a video call inside prison, his girlfriend, or was on a video call with his girlfriend, and he suddenly turned the camera on Bobrisky. The official said it was deemed an invasion of Bobrisky's privacy, so as punishment he was locked up in his cell for nearly 2 months. Okay, so the source added, as I said, she was heavily guarded, so there weren't many of such incidents to point out, and she was always taken away after, and she was quietly taken away after 3 weeks. So out of the 6 months as well, 3 weeks was probably spent inside, allegedly, like you see here in this report. So if the prison officials are giving a report that she actually logged in and stayed in the prison for some time, they would have data to prove that, which might make this whole case a bit difficult to tackle, because the correctional center would have, you know, a way to also defend themselves that, you know, Bobrisky as well was there. So if you look at that particular investigation that was happening, they came and said, of course, because of the features and all that, it was given more like some special protective custody. But from reading as well that report, it wasn't said if the protective custody was fully inside the prison or partly in the prison and outside the prison, because being outside the prison would also mean a kind of protective custody, but to a great extent as well here, it doesn't go in accordance to what or how he was being sentenced to be in the prison. Do you understand? So for him to be outside with some special treatment as a VIP and all that, if he didn't go out to anywhere or live freely like he was supposed to live, aside just being in that particular space, probably it will make sense according to what the prisons themselves understand to be what is against or what is lawful to do, being given protective custody. Because what they said in the news was that he refused to eat the prison food, and according to law, asking for protective custody, or would I say special kind of treatment, is not against what they are supposed to do. But the question right now is, did Bobrisky spend full time in the prison, or did he spend half time or part time in the prison, and then, like it's being reported as well by the investigative journalists, and then some part outside? Everything remains sketchy. Investigations are still going on, but now FEMI FALANA himself speaking about this is also something you'll find quite interesting, that, you know, if it's not satisfactory of what VDM has done, maybe his apology at the event, or maybe the retraction that is also, because it was given two conditions, retraction and apology. But you see, in that particular video, of course, which he made as well, it contains as well the same audio. So retracting it and apologizing, the apologizing he has done, probably it depends on what they consider to be a satisfactory apology. But again, if this is made to look like a VDM issue with the person of the Falana family, it's a different case entirely. At least the man has come out and spoken his own truth. That means Bobrisky was just lying, using the name to make claims. You understand? Since Falana has said he never spoke to him, would Fowles be using his father as a leverage to be speaking to Bobrisky and trying to, you know, get money from him? Of course not. So Bobrisky might have been using that particular name to lie in order to get money from people. But those celebrities that gave Bobrisky money, they should be asking themselves, what were they told? None of them have really come out to say anything as those who were listed as those that gave Bobrisky money. What must have Bobrisky told them to receive 2 million, 1 million, Ozimen, all of them, Don Jazzy, and all of the women supporting men? And just in case you don't know, in case Bobrisky is still lying about that audio being his audio, if you look here on your screen here, after mentioning the name of Abu Ebel Nation that gave him 1 million, he said here, Godfather is not Instagram. He gave me 10 million. Jimmy gave me 1.5 million. So he talks about his Godfather here as well in the appreciation post he made. So his Godfather gave him 10 million. So that Godfather we know now is not on Instagram. Had it been he tagged that particular person as his Godfather, you know, on Instagram, maybe by now we'll know who the Godfather is. Are you getting the point now? So if he's still lying that particular audio is his audio, how can you be talking about Godfather in that particular recording? And in your post you posted by yourself, you also talk about Godfather. Yeah, Bobrisky, you are very lazy. What must he have told them to give them the money that he came out and was listing that they gave? Would it have been the same thing or the same lies? Like, why? I don't know if you get the point right now. So imagine that those ones gave him money for free. Yes, still he was still collecting money from someone that gave on the ground that I will receive back. And the one that was borrowed to you is now what has led to all of this jamboree. So is he really this quote and unquote mommy of Lagos that rich like that, to the point that he was even charged for like money laundry? Probably he might be. And the time he was looking for monies from these people, those monies might have been going through the same brother that's, you know, money went through that he actually mentioned. And if that is the case, then that means that that particular account will have to be investigated. And then all the monies that were sent by celebrities, where did those money go to? So again, as well, follow the money. When you follow the money, you will get your answers, I would say. But that's what, of course, we have as an update to this. I've been away, traveled for a while. I should be back on my main channel very soon. Right now, I'm just here hanging out. We'll come back to our main channel as well. So we discuss some things happening in my core, you know. Now, fun and I want a monster. Amen. Till I see you next time as well. Stay blessed. Stay sharp. I love you. Bye-bye.